Danger along the Gulf Coast. Louisiana and parts of Texas take cover as Hurricane Andrew takes aim.
They don't have any more gas.
I'm out of money, complete out of money, and the banks are closed.
Trying to avoid people having an accident here.
Already the costliest hurricane in United States history. This is the CBS Evening News. Good evening. Dan Rather reporting live tonight from New Orleans, about 65 miles south and west of here in Grand Isle, Louisiana. Hurricane force winds and gust 80-mile-an-hour winds reported in Grand Isle. What this means is that one shoulder of the hurricane is prowling along this Louisiana coast tonight. The question, however, from Houston to Mobile is, where will the eye, the killer heart of this hurricane, come in? Now, at last report, the center of the storm was reported to be in the Gulf of Mexico, about 100-plus miles south and west of New Orleans. A hurricane watch is in effect from roughly Houston and Galveston on over to Alabama. Within that area, a more serious hurricane warning runs from Point Bolivar, Texas, to Pascagoula, Mississippi. Right now, the central and perhaps westernmost parts of the Louisiana coast and the upper Texas coast around Port Arthur are considered to be best bets for a strike by the eye. But hurricanes are infamous for being unpredictable, for quick changes of direction. So New Orleans is playing it safe. People have boarded up, packed up, and are leaving town. Overall, more than 2 million people in all threatened areas have been urged to evacuate to high ground. We have a team of CBS News correspondents covering the hurricane in central and western Louisiana, on the upper Texas coast, and in South Florida. But first, for the latest on where Andrew's eye may go in, let's go to Houston, CBS affiliate KHOU, and our old friend Dr. Neil Frank. Dr. Frank, thanks for being with us. What do we need to know, and what do you think?
Well, Dan, we've been watching the reports from you today, and certainly you've had a lot of squally weather there in the New Orleans area. Now, for the last 24 hours, we've been looking for a turn towards the northwest. I think that we're finally beginning to see this, a gradual, and I emphasize gradual, towards the northwest. And if that continues this evening, it looks like the southwest Louisiana coast is the most likely spot for this, for the system to move inland. And by the system, I'm talking about the eye of the storm to move inland, and that should take place later this evening.
Thanks, Dr. Frank. We will talk to you again later in the broadcast. Scott Pelley is in that south central part of Louisiana in the hurricane's path, Morgan City. Scott?
Dan, the wind is beginning to pick up here along the Atchafalaya River as it goes by Morgan City. Morgan City is a town of about 15,000 people. It is an oil town supplying much of the oil industry offshore. And this evening, it is a town bracing for the worst. The streets of downtown Morgan City are now deserted. Businesses taped up, the streets empty. The danger here is water. After the winds tear at these buildings, much of the city is likely to flood. Very dangerous to stay. We're concerned that there'll be wires blown, there'll be homes damaged, there'll be business places damaged. The city's main shelter is already filled beyond capacity. Some people have actually been turned away. Many did not expect the storm this far west.
They started coming at 6 o'clock this morning, and they haven't stopped until we closed it.
About 65% of Morgan City has been evacuated, but some refuse to leave. Vincent Mancuso was born here 66 years ago.
I'm just old-time, and I just want to stay in Morgan City, and I just can't see leaving. I got my wife out and my grandchildren, and I thought I'd stay here and just ride it out. Morgan City has the same problem of topography as New Orleans. You can see the river here, but if you'll come this way, you can see that the city itself is in a basin. It is below the level of the river, below sea level, and below the level of a lake that forms its eastern boundary. So if there is a great deal of rain here and a storm surge, the town will easily flood. Dan?
Thanks, Scott Pelley in Morgan City. Now let's move up the coast a little and a little more west to the New Iberia, Louisiana area. CBS News correspondent James Hatari is in Del Crum, Louisiana. James?
Good evening, Dan, from Delcom, just south of Lafayette, Louisiana, in the heart of low-lying Cajun country. Right now behind me, shrimp boats you can see which have taken safe harbor in hopes of avoiding the 140-mile violent winds that are sure to come with Hurricane Andrew tonight. Right now it's only raining lightly. The winds are beginning to gust up, only a hint of what's to come. Earlier today we drove across from Alabama, and I can tell you Hurricane Andrew may not have arrived yet, but waves of anxiety have already swept across many Gulf Coast towns. Residents here are taking this threat seriously. 20 parishes have been evacuated, most convinced to leave by pictures of the incredible devastation in South Florida. Fortunately, the coastal area south of Lafayette is not densely populated. Along Vermilion Bay, many of the residents are fishermen, shrimpers, rice farmers, some oil workers. Still, traffic along the main highway was bumper to bumper this afternoon for miles. People escaping with what they can. Many headed north to Lafayette, where shelters are set up for those with no place to go. And what they're running from is, of course, those violent winds up to 140 miles an hour, perhaps, if the eye lands somewhere around here. Rain of 10 to 15 inches in quantity, as well as a storm surge, which could reach 10 to 15 feet. It could push the storm, the Gulf waters, that is, onshore 10 to 15 miles, Dan. One local official summed it up by saying to everyone here, advising them to evacuate if you can. If you can't, take every precaution you can. And he says, say a prayer, because we're going to need it. Dan?
James Sartori in sugarcane country around New Iberia, Louisiana. And west of there is the Lake Charles and Cameron area that has been struck so many times by hurricanes in the past. Our CBS News coverage of the hurricane will continue in a moment. Stay here with us. We're going to take you back to South Florida, where the destruction from the hurricane is so great.
Hot breakfast idea. Smucker's Peach Preserves on cereal. Specially good because jams are less than 20 calories and naturally fat-free. A real man's breakfast. With a name like Smucker's, it has to be good.
Before we ship a new Buick LeSabre, it must meet an international standard of excellence. If it fails to meet a single electrical check, if the aim of a headlight isn't true, if the seams are not measured to the millimeter, we don't ship it. So if you buy a Buick LeSabre for its quality, you won't be missing the boat, even though it doesn't come by boat.
For painful gas, which would you choose? Your antacid or Gas-X, the tablet made for gas? It's extra strength, 100% simethicone to fight gas faster. Faster than your antacid. Fight gas right with Gas-X.
While we absorb the information here that the hurricane may be finally making its ever so slightly northwest turn, while we watch that, let's go to Florida, where it's day one after the hurricane struck. Giselle Fernandez is in Dade County, Florida.
Yeah, I checked that one. I checked this room.
Today, firefighters began the slow and grim search for the missing, probing through the rubble of mangled homes leveled by Hurricane Andrew.
Right on the very corner.
Very corner one.
So far, rescuers have found the body of a woman who decided to weather the storm at home. At least 15 people are reported dead. For most, though, the day after was one of survival. Hundreds lined up to receive water, now scarce. Each face in line has a story. Most are tired, realizing the full magnitude of the crisis.
I am at a loss. There's no question about that. Really just starting to sink in, you know. The first day, I was just happy to be alive, you know. And now these are where the real problems are, you know.
It's survival. Just how to survive. How to take care of our families. How to get water, food.
For residents, cleanup is difficult. Thousands are without power, food, or water. Stores are closed. Factories gutted. Gasoline is almost non-existent.
Is today one of those days where it just feels like it's just going to be so hard to get it all back together?
Yeah, it does.
And help doesn't come quickly. For residents, it's a test in patience.
I've contacted the insurance company. The guy said, well, we'll be out to you as soon as we can get there. What does that mean?
Despite a day's warning, few were really prepared for the ferocity of Andrew, the strongest hurricane to hit South Florida since 1928. Even Homestead Air Force Base was gutted. 4,600 servicemen were evacuated, 2 F-16s destroyed. Nearby hospitals are inundated with victims.
A lot of the area that we see around here now looks like a war zone, and haven't seen the likeness of this since Vietnam. And I imagine the next 48 hours when they start pulling some people out of the rubble, we're going to be even a lot busier than we are now.
To get ready, field hospitals are being set up to help with casualties. For many, though, the ordeal is just beginning, as anxious evacuees jam the highway, returning for the first time to see what's left of their homes. Early estimates suggest that Andrew may be the most costly natural disaster in U.S. history, with estimates going as high as $20 billion. 2,200 National Guardsmen are here. They are positioned to stop scattered looting. A curfew has again been set up for tonight between 7 and 7 in the morning. And Dan, relief aid is coming in from all across the country.
Thanks, Giselle. In Dade County, Florida, absorb the figure. $20 billion in damage, perhaps as many as 50,000 Americans already made homeless by this hurricane. 15 dead, that'd be 12 on the U.S. mainland and 3 in the Bahamas, that's known dead. In one of the worst hit areas, Florida City, is CBS News correspondent Juan Vasquez. Juan?
This used to be a house standing here. It's gone. And it's been here back from the 30s.
When Hurricane Andrew hit Florida City, Arnold Delk lost everything except his life.
I spent 4 years in Vietnam, and I wasn't that scared. At least I knew where the bullets were coming from.
The eye of the storm cut across this small farming community south of Miami. No building was left untouched. In most places, no building was left.
It's gone. Everything's gone.
Everything I've got. Everything's gone. History.
Delk and his neighbors are so stunned, they're not talking about rebuilding. They're talking about leaving.
I can't go through this again. Gone. I can't take my family and do it.
Tragedy often brings people closer together. That's human nature. But then there's the other side of human nature.
Leave everything in your hands, just drop it and come out.
Now, you want a break? No.
Most looters are let off with a warning and a scolding, but police fear it could get worse.
They're not taking milk, they're taking beer and liquor. So 4 or 5 hours from now, they're going to be intoxicated. That's going to double our problem.
Hurricane Andrew destroyed Barry Key's store and his home here. Now looters are picking over what little is left.
The looters over there, you take the stuff out of the building to try to save it, and while you're going back to get something else, they're going over there and picking it up off the ground. See, they're letting you do the work for them. Take a gun and shoot every damn one of them.
He and his wife raised a family in Florida City. All that's left today are a few memories. But the feeling here is it's better than nothing.
And believe it or not, there's stuff we can take out of here, so I guess it's not a total loss.
Florida City used to be a laid-back kind of place, but Hurricane Andrew blew it off the map. There is no there anymore. Juan Vasquez, CBS News, Florida City.
Coming up next, some of the rest of the day's news, including Bill Clinton asking for the votes of war veterans. And we'll be checking back in on the apparent possible slight northwest turn of the hurricane, so stay here with us.
Draw from the facts. There's a way to maintain regularity without drugs. It starts here. A high-fiber diet, which can include Kellogg's All Bran, may give you the fiber you need for drug-free regularity. See the recipe on the box for another way to enjoy Kellogg's All Bran. All Bran muffins. All that fiber, all that great taste.
At Red Lobster, it's going, and soon to be gone. Our full pound of shrimp special ends soon. Red Lobster knows you just can't get, enough shrimp. 10 grilled shrimp, 15 butterflied, 11 scampi. A full pound of our biggest and best shrimp. For a limited time, enjoy all this shrimp. There's so much, you may need a doggy bag.
Red Lobster for the seafood lover in you.
Listen, athlete's foot fungus grows beneath the surface of your skin. To cure it, you've got to get down to the root of the problem. You need Mycotin.
Mycotin penetrates the surface of your skin with miconazole to cure athlete's foot where it grows. Step up to the Mycotin.
If you're under a physician's care for high blood pressure, ulcers, or asthma, then your choice of a non-prescription pain reliever is especially important for millions of people like you. The one doctors recommend most is Tylenol.
As these hurricane victims start over, other Gulf Coast residents prepare for the worst. Continuing live coverage tomorrow on CBS This Morning with Harry Smith and Paula Zahn.
Slight indication, but no confirmation that the hurricane may be turning just ever so slightly north. New Iberia, Lake Charles, and Port Arthur. That could be bad news for them. While we check more on the hurricane map, let's go to New York for some of the rest of the day's news. And Paula's on. Paula?
Thanks a lot, Dan. More tonight about the danger of smoking. Turns out now it can hurt your eyesight. That's the conclusion of a study in the Journal of the American Medical Association. It says people who smoke double their risk of forming cataracts, the clouding of the lens that is the #1 cause of blindness. War and peace were the campaign issues as President Bush and Bill Clinton each appealed for votes for U.S. veterans today. Correspondent Richard Threlkeld covered the American Legion meeting in Chicago.
The Legionnaires gave their fellow veteran and Commander-in-Chief George Bush the sort of hearty welcome you might expect. The president's been criticized by his opponent Bill Clinton, among others, for stopping last year's Desert Storm offensive against Saddam Hussein too soon. Today, he minced no words in defending himself.
We did it, and I don't like this historical revision. We did the right thing. We did the compassionate thing in the end as well. And if we'd continued, hundreds of thousands of American troops would be on the ground in Iraq today attempting to pull warring factions together or bogged down in some guerrilla warfare.
You'd never have known from his reception here that the president's trailing Clinton by 16 points, 55 to 39%, in a new CBS News New York Times poll. That's about the same lead Clinton had before the Republican convention. Clinton spoke to the Legionnaires 2 hours later and went straight to the issue that's followed him since the primaries. Did he deliberately avoid the draft during Vietnam? He said he did not, but reminded the Legionnaires he was against that war then and now. But he said that's history.
If any of you here choose to vote against me because of what happened 23 years ago, that is your right as an American citizen, and I respect it. But I hope that you will cast your vote looking toward the future, rather than remaining fixed to the problems of the past.
He got a polite reception, but mixed reactions.
Well, you know, you can grow up, you can change your mind, and you can become a better person.
I think to avoid the draft for any reason is unforgivable, personally.
Clinton did make some converts today among the Legionnaires, but his draft history will cost him some veterans' votes, something the Republicans will do their level best to make sure of. Richard Threlkeld, CBS News, Chicago.
Tomorrow, President Bush is expected to make a long-awaited announcement. It is a warning to Saddam Hussein that Allied forces will shoot down any Iraqi warplanes flying over southern Iraq. The so-called no-fly zone is being set up to protect dissident Shiites who have been under attack by Saddam's military. In South Korea, the Reverend Sun Young Moon presided today at the biggest wedding ever seen. Exchanging vows were 40,000 members of his unification church, most of them strangers from different countries. They were paired off by Moon himself, who claims a divine gift for matchmaking. Coming up next, Eye on America. Tonight, why so many trees are falling with permission of the government agency formed to protect them.
The makers of Dimetap know it's important for allergy and cold sufferers to trust their medication. Doctors and pharmacists have trusted the Dimetap brand for safe, effective relief for 30 years. You can trust Dimetap Extend tabs for 12 hours of allergy relief. And if you're concerned about drowsiness, Dimetap contains one of the least sedating, non-prescription antihistamines. Trust Dimetap, the #1 doctor-recommended antihistamine decongestant non-prescription formula.
I teach archery, so I always have to hit my target. Thanks to the always-on-target Hearts 2-in-1 team, ridding bow of fleas and ticks is easy and just as accurate. First, use Hearts 2-in-1 Rid Flea Shampoo. It kills fleas and ticks, leaving him really clean. Then a Hearts 2-in-1 collar for up to 5 months of long-lasting protection. The Hearts team, 2-in-1 Rid Flea Shampoo and the 2-in-1 collar. Targets and kills your pet's fleas and ticks. They really work. Hearts, everything good for your pet.
Day after day, you make those glasses of thick Metamucil disappear. Why not make them all disappear with FiberCon? Doctor-recommended FiberCon gives you the same fiber regularity in tablets.
Easy-to-swallow tablets.
Get doctor-recommended FiberCon.
I was worried that I needed surgery for my hemorrhoids, but my doctor said they weren't serious, and it's time I used Preparation H.
Preparation H cream helps shrink swelling of inflamed hemorrhoidal tissues and often relieves pain, itching, and burning for hours. Doctor-recommended Preparation H.
They couldn't have their own children, so adopting Megan was the answer to their prayers.
Then the devil came by and ripped her away from us.
The birth mother got her back. Whose baby is she? Street Stories, Thursday.
The National Forest Service, you've heard of it. Rangers, Smokey Bear, all out to protect America's forests. Well, critics of the Forest Service are telling a different story, as Bruce Morton reports in tonight's Eye on America.
This is virgin forest, old growth, untouched by man. There is nothing else like it in America. There never will be. Ask Jeff DeVonis, who used to work for the National Forest Service.
These trees here, this is probably 800 years old. It was here long before Columbus got here. No one's going to let trees grow for 600 years anymore.
It is the forest primeval, a thing of beauty, but not a joy forever, because the National Forest Service is cutting it down. The National Forest Service sells timber companies the right to cut down, strip bare pieces of national forest. You can see the results best from the air. This is national forest around Mount Hood, near Portland, Oregon.
That's your national forest you're looking at right there.
They've cut so much that only about 10% of America's virgin forests are still left. 10%. That's alarmed some Forest Service workers like Terry and Rich Fairbanks.
I think we've cut too much. I think we've cut too fast. I think many of us sometimes question when it comes down to looking at the last few stands of old growth or natural forests that are left. Do we want to cut this? Is this a good idea?
The timber companies pay the Forest Service for the right to cut, of course, but taxpayers subsidize the business. The service has paid for the thousands of miles of logging roads built for the companies to use, for instance. Overall, the government loses money timbering, but preparing the forest for cutting is what the Forest Service does.
Way to be successful in certainly the Forest Service has been to get that production out, no matter what.
The Forest Service runs a shrinking forest. Environmentalists are angry.
I didn't see any one piece of forest in Vietnam, in spite of the millions of tons of Agent Orange, millions of tons of bombs, and millions of tons of napalm. No place looked as bad as any piece of any national forest in the Pacific Northwest.
The service does replant trees, but it plants tree farms, one kind of tree in neat rows, not forests.
We grow plantations. We don't know how to grow forests. And maybe we can figure that out, but we're not doing it right now.
The forests are home for the famous spotted owl, for all kinds of other animals and plants and birds. Cutting them down means soil erosion, and when soil drains into the rivers, that's bad news for trout and salmon fishing. The argument is jobs are at stake, but between 1979 and 87, the amount of wood taken from national forests went up. Timber jobs in Oregon went down. One reason mills close is that so much raw, unprocessed lumber, 2 to 5 billion board feet a year, is shipped abroad.
It seems like nobody can touch that issue, can really put together something to stop those log exports, because there's so much money and so much political power at stake.
Limiting the cutting, critics say, would create new jobs in recreation, fishing, trying to restore the forests. Ultimately, they say there's more work in keeping the forest alive than in cutting it down.
Those same people can be employed undoing the damage that has been done to public property.
We came to Washington to find out how the National Forest Service answers its critics, but they wouldn't talk to us. Both the director and his deputy declined to be interviewed for this report.
The trees still fall. Jeff DeVonis, walking through a small patch of old growth forest, wonders.
If we keep going on the way we're going, our children's children will not see native old-growth forests in the United States.
Will not see scenes like this or this. And America will have lost something wonderful. We'll have lost it forever. In the Willamette National Forest, Bruce Morton for Eye on America.
Coming up next on the CBS Evening News, Dan Rather will be back from New Orleans with the latest on Hurricane Andrew and where the storm is headed next.
Never seen nothing like it. I mean, Rusty Slade was an ornery sort. Always ate his old bran flakes just for fiber. But one morning, I gave him Kellogg's new complete bran flakes. Weren't the same. More than fiber, they had whole grain wheat. Flakes were new too, crispy, crunchy. Why, that Kellogg's complete bran flakes even had a better nutty taste. It was all so good, made Rusty smile. Almost. New Kellogg's complete bran flakes. Fiber and then some.
V8, it has vegetables in it.
Really?
I didn't know that.
Vegetables in it. I heard that. Here's why I drink it.
Because it's tasty.
I love vegetables.
You hate vegetables.
I like these. They kind of crush it all up, squish together, and you can actually taste the vegetables. You know, your tomatoes,
Spinach, celery,
carrots. It's got vegetables in it?
yes.
V8? V8! You know, when I feel like a vegetable, I drink it. It's zippy kind of thing, zippy thing.
The styling of the Infiniti Q45 has a beauty that increases as time passes. The interior offers a lasting pleasure, an enduring luxury, which is important because when it comes to a luxury car, as well as most other things in life, infatuation is easy. True love is what takes a little time.
Oh, great, just what my stomach needs. Here comes my obnoxious boss.
Hi, Daddy.
Oh, boy.
Better make it Maalox. Because for moments like this, nothing Mylanta makes neutralizes as much stomach acid as Extra Strength Maalox Plus. So why take anything else?
We were just talking about you.
Oh, nice, I hope.
My mother's here, too.
Great.
Nobody knows your stomach better, so you better make it Maalox.
Director Bob Sheets and the other hardworking people at the National Hurricane Center in Florida have a hurricane watch up from roughly Houston and Galveston, Texas, over to Alabama. We go now to Dr. Neil Frank for an update. Dr. Frank, what's the good news, the bad news, and what especially should we be watching?
Well, Dan, the good news, I think, is that the worst part of the storm is going to pass just west of New Orleans, and maybe we won't have a repeat of Betsy in '65. And maybe a bit of good news for the Houston area if the storm passes to the east, but very bad news for southwest Louisiana, central Louisiana. It looks like it's going to be a long, frightening night there.
And what do we know now about this possible indication of a slight turn to the north? You still think it has turned just a little to the north, raising the potential danger for west and central Louisiana and possibly the very upper tip of Texas?
Yeah, no question about that, Dan. As we've looked very carefully all day long, you can see a very gradual turn to the northwest, and that's what would take the center just east of Houston.
Thank you, Dr. Neil Frank. Rising water, an even greater danger than the high winds. Hurricane night, part of our world tonight. Stay tuned to this CBS station for updates on the hurricane. Our thanks to CBS affiliate WWL here in New Orleans for all of their help. Dan Rather for the CBS Evening News. See you tomorrow. Good night.
CBS News.
Hurricane Andrew can have their homes, but not their lives. Thousands flee the killer storm before it strikes again. Live coverage from Dan Rather on the CBS Evening News tomorrow. This is CBS.
Next on Hard Copy, Real Life Goodfellas. Step by step, the true story behind John Gotti and the hit that killed the mob.
It's Macy's one-day bedding sale. Save 50% plus an additional 10% on all Sealy, Serta, Simmons, Stearns & Foster. A Simmons Astoria twin-size mattress regularly offered at $170, now just $76. With every bed set, get a bonus frame and a 40-day home trial. Buy now, pay later with deferred billing. 50% plus an additional 10%